The demand for nearly every video game, even ones that are relatively recent, to be remade and or remastered might be the biggest issue facing gaming to this day, and you can't even have conversations around it without some of the dumbest pseudo-intellectuals on the internet. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and yeah, we're going to talk about this, right? So, I want to see a remastered version of this masterpiece soon, and it's just a quick, gif from The Evil Within. Banger game, one of the greatest games of the generation that came out. I did not expect to wake up to kind of a banger tweet when I responded with, wants a remaster of a game that's only 12 years old and still holds up beautifully. These fucking clowns are the worst part of gaming culture today, and you can't make this shit up. But lo and behold, it happened. And we're going to talk about it. Before we do, hit the subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. And we are almost at 10,000 subscribers. Hit that button. I want to get there before the end of March. We got a week to get like 60 subs. I believe in you beautiful bastards. But let's go through this, right? Let me break down my point. Because obviously I say a game that's 12 years old still holds up beautifully. Which it does. When you look, first of all, you don't have to just look at what you see on X. The game's on Steam. You can get it on Steam. It's on PS4. It's on PS3, and I get it. Not a whole lot of people breaking out their old PS3s and whatnot anymore. But look, I played this game when it came out. I played it on launch. It was incredible then. Like, yes, it had some issues, had some jank. You know what? Most games do. Like, let's just be real. Most games do. It's the level of jank. How acceptable is the jank? Now, is there jank, that it could have been fixed, but instead the devs were too busy working on other things? There's a lot of factors that go into it. You can't just rate all jank equally. But what really got me here were some of these comments. Now, there's some that are great, mind you. For example, we got to collect the GOAT. This is a good one. It's also the attitude that led us to living in a world of remakes, sequels, and reboots. And this is correct. This is true. Clearly, we're a world that is hungering for new shit. Whether it be Expedition 33, whether it be the most recent Crimson Desert, we are a populace of folk that want new things. And yet we keep getting remasters and remakes out the ass for mostly games that don't need them, or if you could make the argument they need them, well, the remakes and the remasters end up becoming worse. They're just cash grabs. They cut content, they change the story, they alter characters. And no, I'm not just talking about Resident Evil. Anyone that's seen my diatribes knows the way I feel about the Resident Evil remakes, but I find this to be kind of an alarming trend in general. Like, it's one thing to have a game like Spyro the Dragon. Came out in like 1996, PlayStation 1 graphics. It gets a remake, like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and lo and behold, the audio is updated, the visuals are updated, but everything else is largely the exact same. Yeah, if you're going to do a remake, that's how you should do it. It should be a game that's pretty damn old, like Spyro the Dragon, that actually warrants said remake. Now, I get it. This said remaster. And there is a difference between a remaster and a remake. So let me go ahead and explain that real quick for anyone that just doesn't know what we're talking about. I'm going to make myself big here. I'm going to embiggen myself so you'll really get the fucking point. Alright, you got a remaster, which is you take the original code and you just port it to a new system, give it some quality of life updates. Alright, fair enough. Not super difficult to do. Metroid Prime, right, those were remasters. Oblivion, remaster. Those are justifiable. Those are warranted. I understand those completely. Remake is when you build a game from the ground up. From the ground up. Like what the Spyro Reignited trilogy was. Like what the Resident Evil 1 remake was back in 2002. And then you got reimaginings. Now, we're not really going to talk on that during this video, but I'll go ahead and just lay it out there. Reimaginings are like what the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes try and claim, or what Final Fantasy 7 remake tries to claim it is. It's not a remake. It's a reimagining. Everything has changed. It loosely resembles the original, but let's be real. It's its own thing. Frankly, those are abysmal. I hate them. I think they're terrible. It's a trend that needs to die, especially by calling them remakes instead of reimaginings. That's just false advertising, false marketing. That's neither here nor there. So let's talk about this remasters. So we got, you mean the game that gets all fucked up if you make it full screen because it's so badly put together. It could definitely do with a touch-up. Alright, you don't need an entire remaster for that. A patch would solve that. If you want to patch the game, ask the devs for a patch. Now, will it ever happen? Who knows? Tango Gameworks, they ain't exactly around anymore. Thanks, Xbox. But the point of the matter is, no, you don't need a remaster because of small issues like this. And yes, I do consider that to be a small issue because the game is still incredibly playable. Not only did I play it on release for the PS3 when it came out, but I recently ran through and did a Steam playthrough of it. Recently, that's like within the last year and a half or so. Still holds up beautifully. Looks inside, Evil Within 1. Fine game on its own right. One of my favorites, as a matter of fact. But it's an objective fact the game doesn't hold up, especially when compared to the sequel mechanically and story-wise. Hold on. Speaking out two sides of the mouth here. Fine game in its own right. One of my favorites. Okay, then clearly, it, at least in some regard or another, holds up to you. Now I get we can argue about the subjective and objective merits, right? There are certain things that are objectively, bad when it comes to game design, when it comes to level design, when it comes to audio mixing and mastering, stuff like that. Totally fair. But you're going to need to show me that that's the case. You can't just say objective fact this game doesn't hold up when compared to the sequel mechanically or story-wise, because frankly, as someone who loves both games, I think the sequel is the worst of the two. So if you're going to say something's objective, you better show me some objective metrics, which you didn't do. I'd ask for a collection release with the DLCs, but they'd remaster if that's the case. And that's fair if they were to do some sort of like Evil Within collection. But even that would just be a cash grab. It would probably be undercooked. It would probably come with a slew of new issues, even if they fixed others. And in all reality, we don't need a collection that is 2 games. You can buy both these games, again, on Steam, usually on sale because it's Steam. It's not like we're ever getting a third fucking game. Again, Tango Gameworks is gone, or Game Shop, whatever their name was. Some games are meant not to be touched. This is one of them. I absolutely agree. Remaster is unnecessary, but it's locked to 30 FPS. With slow load times, no DualSense features on PlayStation, it could definitely do with a current gen port at least. Now, you're going to see this a lot. Locked to 30 FPS. Guys, it's a single-player game. It's a single-player survival horror game. Like, I understand the want, and in some cases even the need, for, like, bare minimum 60 FPS, if it's, like, online multiplayer, because you need to be able to have all the competitive edge you can. But ain't nobody gonna notice the difference in a slow-paced survival horror game that is a single player narrative, like that. Doing a remaster for that minimal of a change, that's not gonna do anything. They're gonna try and justify a $70 price, 60 if we're being generous. Let's be real, it's 2026 in the gaming space. Probably a $70 price tag for 60 FPS and to get rid of the black bars because it played in widescreen instead of a true full screen. You're gonna play $70 for that? Yeah, gamers will. And that's the problem. It's not even really about whether this game itself does or doesn't need a remaster. Again, it doesn't, but that's not the real point. The point is how many people are willing to just consume and just buy up this $70 slop, these easy thrown together cash grabs that, again, oftentimes come with new issues. Altered content, cut content, things that are changed for modern audiences, usually new bugs, even if old ones are patched out. The Evil Within does not hold up perfectly. It runs like shit on consoles, and the PC port isn't great either. I don't want to see a remaster, but a patch would be nice. Alright, there's a couple things going on here. For one, I agree, a patch. If there's people having issues with minor things, like the full screen that can be patched, patch away, patch it up, patch-a-roo. But what do you mean it runs like shit on consoles? These games are beloved. They sold relatively well, if memory serves. So, what's this doesn't hold up perfectly? Maybe the game's just not for you. Maybe it's just, and that's fine. Not every game's for everyone. A lot of these complaints is people saying, well, it has XYZ thing that I don't like, therefore it's bad. No, not everything is for you. It's really that simple. Some games aren't for you, and that's fine. Move the fuck on. Play something that is. Yeah, I want to see a game be available on all platforms. It pretty much is. Like PS3, PS4, Steam. I think you can even get on Switch. I don't know how well it runs on Switch. But I mean, if it ran on the PS3, I'm sure it's fine. So, it's a widely available game. I want 60 FPS for the first game. Why? Again, it's negligible. That difference will do effectively nothing for the game itself. I want to play it for my Switch too. What's the problem here exactly? Clearly you've played the game before. If I was to go off face value, you make it seem like you've played the game before. So that means you have the game. Fucking play the game that you have. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Old Style basically created the charm. Don't know what that's in regards to. One game truly needs a remaster. Watch Dogs. Now, I can't speak to this. I didn't play Watch Dogs. I know a lot of people claim this this needs a remaster. Maybe it does. I can't speak to that one. Let me buy. Here it is. Beautiful comment. Perfect comment, really. Please let me buy something I already own because I want ray tracing even though it already looks good. Yeah. Let's look at this again, right? Let's go full screen. This doesn't look bad. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. I don't know what you're on about. Does it look like it came out in 2014? Sure. But that's fine. Not everything needs these massive visual overhauls to make it look all nice and shiny and pretty and modern. And you know what? If you're playing on the PC, there's probably fucking mods for it. If you're not playing on PC, if you're playing on a console, get good scrub, get a fucking PC. People like this are exactly why we've only been getting remasters of successful games that people can just play right now if they wanted, rather than getting some remasters of games that are actually needed because of lost media. Some which can just be HD ported if need to. Bingo, bango, bongo. Couldn't agree. You got me agreeing with a fucking furry. Or at least I assume it's a furry. It could be wrong. Brother, no it don't. I'll take 60 FPS and a full real screen. Again, full real screen, patch, explain the 60. What's everybody's obsession with 60 FPS? You realize we were playing games at 30 FPS on the PS3 for a whole ass generation and ain't nobody give a fuck? Because it was fine. Because it was fine. These are just spoiled children. No, it doesn't. It had technical issues since launch. The game definitely needs to be polished big time. Again, a lot of those can be fixed with a patch. But show me a game that didn't have technical issues. You can go back to some of the most beloved games of all time. Silent Hill 2 on the PS2 had technical issues. Not massive, but it had them. Every game got some little weirdness about it. It's one thing to bitch and moan about game-breaking shit. Crimson Desert needed some patches and overhauls on day one because it had some massive issues. I've played The Evil Within like 3 or 4 times in my life. Not including just the first one. Second one I played, I think, twice, so it's not as good. I like it, but it's not as good. I can't think of anything technical that is game-breaking. There's some minor annoyances, sure. But not enough to keep me from playing it 3 or 4 times. And it seems like not enough to keep these people from playing it either, considering so many people in these comments about how they like the game. Holds up beautifully. Lot 30 FPS. There it is. The controls feel like 1990, and the cutscenes have black bars. The controls, first of all, the controls feel like they're from about 2005, because this is Shinji Mikami. He is replicating the over-the-shoulder angle that he pretty much created for Resident Evil 4. So it doesn't feel like 1990. You're an idiot. 2005, controls great, by the way, for people that like that style of game. Goes back to what I was saying earlier. Homie, maybe it's just not for you. If you were to change the way it controls, let's say it gets a remaster and you change the way it controls, what's the point of playing this game? You're not playing The Evil Within, you're playing something else completely. It might have the Evil Within story, might have the Evil Within characters, but if it doesn't play like The Evil Within, and it's an interactive medium, it's a video game, why do you want to play it at all? I'll only play this version of it's for me. Motherfucker, it wasn't for you to begin with. Holds up beautifully, but consoles, it's stuck at 720. Again, oh well. Who cares? You telling me that, like would people be upsetty spaghetti that A Link to the Past only has whatever the visual fidelity it has? Now, A Link to the Past is still a great looking game. Most pixel games in HD don't look as good as they did back on the CRT back in the day because of the scanline effect. So yeah, I don't want to hear this. It's stuck at 720. It still looks fine. Like, visual fidelity ain't the end all be all. Controls are great. Story is, at least if you like horror games and whatnot, the story is good for horror game story standards. I think it's got a good story in general, but to be fair, we can debate the merits of the story. The point is, what does the visual fidelity got to do with it? We have played games with bad graphics. We watch movies with bad visuals. But, like, nobody was bitching and moaning that Clerks was shot in black and white. It's like, oh man, we really need a remaster of the movie Clerks, but in color. Yeah, no one's asking for that. The problem with the game is the camera. I liked it, my brother could not play it, because the way the camera handles the movement of the player. Alright, sounds like it wasn't for your brother. Shut the fuck up, move on. I think a remaster is generally only warranted if there are technical or performance issues with the original. No functioning game needs a remaster. And even then, while I agree with this, even then, that's only if it can't be fixed via an actual patch. What I want is a new game, but I doubt it'll be the same without Mikami. It would not. It absolutely would not. First of all, it's an engagement farming post. Second of all, I don't know what this is. Now, maybe this isn't engaged for Farming Post. You know what? Maybe it is. You got the blue check mark, right? You got the blue check mark. Let's see. How many people engaged with this? 1.6 thousand. 1.6 thousand likes. It's got 178,000 views. So maybe it's engaged with Farming Post. I don't, whether it is or isn't is kind of irrelevant because there are people that buy into this, that agree with this. These are the people that buy games. These are the people that dictate the market because these are the people that are dictating what sells. So whether it's engagement farming or not is kind of irrelevant because you see all the people in these replies that think this game does need a remaster, that think this paying $70 again for the same game with minimal changes is somehow a good investment. It doesn't play well though. Evil Within 1 and 2 are my top best games. Solid 8 out of 10. This gotta be mental fucking retardation. You got to have the extra chromosome. It doesn't play that well. 8 out of 10. In an interactive medium. What you mean it doesn't play? No. You gotta be trolling. Gotta be trolling. Game runs like 25 FPS with giant black bars at the top and bottom. Guess what? Lord of the Rings Return of the King, well, all the Lord of the Rings games, or movies, had giant black bars at the top and bottom. It was called widescreen back in the day. Y'all might be too young to remember it, but it was pretty cool. If you don't like it, again, ask for a patch. Like, you really want to spend $70? $70 fucking dollars in this economy to get rid of some black fucking bars? Why do they even bother you that much? Like in all reality, what do the black bars change that much? I can't even rationalize why the black bars would be a problem. When I play Sonic Adventure, I play that shit in a 4x3 aspect ratio. It's effectively a square. You got purple bars on the side. It's fine. I still play the game. Game's from 1998. It was in 4x3 at the time. Are you incapable of just doing anything? Dude, if you put a rotary phone in front of this motherfucker, they would have no choice but just drop the noose. They outie like 4 circles. Only reason I see is for an excuse to the game on more platforms. It's on plenty of platforms. All right? It's on plenty of platforms. You can go buy a PS3 used for like $100, dude. You can go buy a PS3 used for like $100. You don't need it on more platforms. Like, I get the idea of wanting games accessible everywhere, and that's totally fair. But you can just port it over. It doesn't need to be remastered and sold for $70 goddamn dollars all over again with minimal changes, and again, probably things cut out and altered. So it can be on multiple platforms. You just port that shit over. It's not that difficult. This game runs sub 30 frames per second on consoles. What are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about not being a console pleb. I don't know. Grow up, get a job, be a real boy, buy a PC. You got this. I believe in you, Roger. You said you got workman in your name. You work for a living. Surely you got the money to buy a PC. Remember, the people, this nails it. Reminder that people like this are why budgets are bloated for graphics and why Nvidia thought that DLSS 5 was a good thing. Now, I got mixed opinions on DLSS 5. If you want to hear about what that is, just check the video I did a few days ago about it. It's, again, my opinions on DLSS 5 are very mixed. But at the end of the day, this is correct. Like, budgets are bloated in all regards, not just graphics. Dude, it took, I want to remind everybody, Assassin's Creed Shadows credits were long, just the credits were longer than a Marvel movie. They had like between 3,000 and 5,000 people work on that game. That wasn't necessary. This shit is out of control. And y'all want them quick cash grab nostalgia bait remasters to like, what? They're used to offset and recoup the cost for these new games that aren't selling? Fuck out of here with all that. The Last of Us 2 got 10 remasters, and wanting an Evil Within remake is criminal just so more people can enjoy the game and eventually show Crafton to make a new Evil Within. It shouldn't have gotten even one remaster. The Last of Us shouldn't have gotten even one remaster. And so yeah, wanting a remaster of Evil Within is criminal. If you want people to enjoy the game, more people can enjoy. Just fucking get the game. It's not like this game is locked on the PlayStation 1 and had a limited release. It's a pretty fucking widely accessible game. I know for a fact it's on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PC, almost positive Switch, probably the Xboxes as well, but I don't remember. Well, no, it would have to be because it was Shinji Mikami. And he had to deal with, I don't know if he had to deal with Xbox at the time. Point is, This is a pretty widely accessible game, guys. If you don't have a system that can play it, you can probably find one pretty fucking easy used secondhand market. It's beautiful on PC. Knowing how ass consoles are, it's probably still 30 FPS. Sucks to be a console pleb. This game runs like shit on console. Extremely grainy and the motion blur is cranked up. No, it doesn't look good. I say this as someone who loved both games. And he posts that he platinumed both games. Now, granted, did it on Game Pass, so I don't know what his console experience was like. But you can't say there and say that this game has all these issues. If you loved it enough to put in the work to get the plat for both games, it does look good. You just might not like the visual style. All right? You might not. Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in the 70s. That movie looks good. You might not like that it's grainy. You might not like the fact that tech looked the way it did in the 70s. But it still looks good. It just doesn't look modern. That's the difference. There's a difference between something not looking good and just not looking modern. I can go over more of these. They're all ridiculous. You've got people basically saying, yeah, we love this game. Give it a remaster. No. We love this game. Give it a remake. No. We love this game. Give it a reimagining. Fuck you. If you love the game, play the game as is. I truly don't understand this mentality. And I do think that this is one of the biggest issues plaguing gaming to this day. We don't need remakes of everything. We don't need remasters of everything. Like, if I see a remaster, that game good goddamn well better be from like the Nintendo 64 era or some shit. You can maybe justify some PS2 remasters. Someone in the comments there earlier, I didn't see it while we're going through it just now, but some of the comments earlier said Deadly Premonition deserves a remaster. Agreed. Deadly Premonition was a game that nobody remembers, was stuck on the PS2, right? Stuck on the PS2. That's fine. Deadly Premonition is like a 22-year-old game or something, if I remember right. The Evil Within was 12 years ago. Guys, that's not that long ago. We've been gaming. I can't imagine a game that is only 12 years old needing a quote-unquote remaster. When there are some Dreamcast games from 1999 you can go back and play on native hardware that still hold up fine. These are my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know on X. You can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. This wasn't necessarily news, but it was just something that I had to talk about. I had to get off my chest. Do hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 10K. I want to see 10K before the end of the month. You legends can do it. Also, check us out on Discord and check us out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon. Become a member for $4.99. And until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.